login that we can actually see here. We can say call it button, so we can say button. In the text you can see what you can say log in. So I think that should be login. Simple as that. Let's actually go back and reload this. So you can see this login button is already showing up here. So the next thing we want to do, we can actually see is need an account. So we can actually go here. We can actually make it a small letter. So we can a small tag. We can just say need an account. Simple as that. In case somebody is interested in getting account, maybe we want to direct that person to actually to a sign up button. So we can create an anchor tag. We can call it sign up. Sign up. Simple as that. So let's actually go back. Run this. You can say need an account, and just make this a small letter N, that's a capital letter. And so now what we're going to do is when somebody wants to is interested in signing up, which is actually for that of the register. So what you need to do is actually direct that person to that of the register. Let's actually copy similar. Let's copy something similar to this. So don't just type everything up again. So since somebody wants to, since you need an account, you need to sign up, which is for that of the register page, which is that of the register page. So when I click on that of the what is it called, this small sign up, it should direct you to that of the register. Yeah, yes, direct you to that of the register. And then for this of the register, we already have an account. Sign in, it should direct you to that of the login page. So here's that of the register, which is somewhere. Yeah, sign in. You need to do what this should be sign in, which is going to be log in. No sign up is different from that of the sign in. Here is other sign up, and then to sign in is more like that of to register. Sorry, to log in. So we can, when we click on this sign in should direct to that of the login. You can see that the sign up and the sign in is already working perfectly like we expected. Somebody click on this login and that of the register. What do we want to actually have? We want to go to that of the login. I want to go to that of the register. Now, okay, this is actually not a base.html. So let's go down, which is that of the login. Here is going to login page. Remember that the reason we're able to actually achieve this is because that's the name we actually set in this of the area pattern. So you can see that how interesting setting the name, we can deliberately use the name rather than the complete link to actually achieve this. So and for that of the register, so it's going to register page. So anytime we click on that button, you should deliberately do the same thing. So let's just load up login, goes to that of login, register goes to that of the register. For user register page, I want us to style it a little bit. So I'm going to go over to our register.html, which is this guy. Then I have the code already copied. So to paste it, copy, and just select everything and paste it. What I just did was to make use of Bootstrap to actually enhance the look of our register page. So it's going to be more like this, which is going to be more like this. So let me actually just reload our register page. You can see it look more like what we expected, like looking more like this. So you can see just with some few Bootstrap classes, we're able to make it a little bit nicer. So for right now, when somebody tries to, when you send an information or you make a when you push something on a particular website or you send information to a website, what you're actually doing is actually a post request, and that, or when you try to get information from your website, what you're actually doing is actually to do what is actually called a get request. Now when we go to this of our register.html, why we set in this particular section is that when we set this of the forms with filter of encryption. So what we set here is actually a method of post. So when we hit any sign up button like this of the button that we have here, type is going to be submit. So anytime we hit on it, it's still inside of this of the form that we have. So what we're going to do is make a post request. So we're going to this is why I set this here. Remember that the code for this also entire things my GitHub. So in case you're interested in this is where I put this button here. So anytime you click on this button, it automatically trigger this on the form, and then we know that we actually made a post request to our maybe to a particular website or to this of our website. Then we can make use of some logic to actually do some other things. So in this of the views I need to actually, when somebody actually make a post request, I need to actually authenticate that person, meaning I need to actually save the information of that person. So what I need to do, I need to actually do basically mainly two things. I need to check if that person is actually being authenticated, and then also maybe send a message to the person that okay, oh, your account was actually created successfully. So for that, I'll be importing some few functions and some few classes that is going to help us to achieve this. These messages, maybe to send somebody a successful message or danger message or an alert message, Django tends to provide that for us. So we can say from that of the Django contrib Django.contrib, we want to import, that was the messages, and also we want to also import a particular function that's helping us to actually check for that person is being authenticated and to do some other things. So to do that, I'm going to from that of the Django that we have Django.contrib, that was contrib auth. I want to import authenticate. This authenticate function is going to help us to check maybe when somebody is actually being registered. I know the way Django tends to store information when you register is going to actually be stored in that of the session. You can say more like that of the cookies. Information is going to be stored in our web server for a particular period of time. So you can actually try your best. You can actually set it to a particular amount of time. If you want a particular person information, a particular logged in user on your site, you can try to set it a particular amount of time you actually want. But we're going to make use of the amount of time that Django tends to do for us. So we want to do for this register, we need to actually check whether somebody is actually logged into our website, because if this person is being logged in, we don't need to let the person to actually register again. And to do this, we're going to say if the request, we're going to make use of the request.user, which is currently logged in, maybe the person that's trying to, the username that, or the user that is trying to register dot is what, that is authenticated, simple as that. If the person is authenticated, I mean if the person is logged in, what do we need to do? We need to actually redirect that person to maybe to our home page, maybe to our root page. And to do this, we're going to say our return, we're going to say return redirect and redirect. I think that is actually redirect. Where do we want to actually redirect to? This sign signifies I want to go to our root page. So if you can see that we're getting this error, so we need to actually import that of the redirect for us to actually make use of it. Redirect is part of this Django shortcut. So we're going to say on this of the Django the shortcut want to import what? Redirect. Simple as that. So what you actually did here, if the person is logged in, so what do we want to do? We want to redirect that person to our root page. You can say root, you can say our home page. If the person is not logged in, so what do we want to do? We can say else. We can move for this inside. So this form is going to be inside of the else in case the person is not logged in. So the first thing we want to say, we're going to bring this up our form, and we are going to display for the person. So we're going to check if the method is the person was actually, because in this scenario the person have to fill information, the person have to click on this sign up. When we click on this sign up, when we go down, okay, let's click on that again. Tell us to fill this field. If we are done filling out, I will click on it. It's going to make it that was actually a post request. So we're going to say if the request dot method is equals to that of a post, request to what do we want to actually do. So we need to actually set our form to what the person actually enters. So we're going to say let's just copy this. We're going to make use of this form again. This one we're going to set it. So inside of here we're going to set request.post. So we're going to say our request.post. Request.post is what you actually forwarded this of the form. Everything you entered inside of here is going to be stored in this request.post. So I'm going to pass inside of this register form. So and then I'm going to check if your form is actually valid, because if the form is not valid, there's no way we're going to save you. So we're going to say if form with this talking about this form, you can say if form dot is underscore what valid. If the form is valid, what do we want to do? We need to actually save this form. So we're going to say our form dot what save. Simple as that. So with the form, if every information that enter there is valid, so we can actually then your form. And the next thing, once you are done once you are done saving your form, we need to actually maybe send you a message and then maybe return you back to that of the login, because if you register, you need to actually log in. So how can we do this? Since the form is valid, we can actually send you a message. So we can say our message is going to be messages to what success. There are a whole lot of them. They have the messages to alert, messages to success, the messages to danger. You can just head on online to check some of all these guys. There are a whole lot of them there. So we're going to say this of the request. We're going to make this of the request. Then what test do you want to actually see? And also we need to actually, before we save your form, we need to actually maybe to get your username to display for you that this the person that actually created this account there, and we are going to save the form that the person entered or what cleaned, which is going to be this clean data here, and what parameter are we what are we trying to get, or what attribute are we trying to get? We want to get out of the user name. So we want to get the information that entered on that of the username, then we're going to store it on this user, because username is definitely going to be your username, and then we're going to store it on this. So make an f string, then we're going to say account. So we want to prompt you a message to let you know that your account was actually created successfully. You can say account for what to say user that we just actually created was created success so that's correct successfully. Simple as that. And also what you remember that this success message is going to be, since we send you to that of the login page, that is going to the message is going to be displayed on that of the login page. So we want to actually do what, once we are done doing this, we need to actually return you all to a login page. So we need to say return redirect. So that redirect, where do we want to redirect you to, which is our login page. Simple as that. So I think everything look ready. Okay, so I think everything here, this is recap of what we did. We check if you are actually logged in, maybe if you actually authenticated already. If you are already authenticated, we need to actually send you to our root page, because we can start to send you anywhere of your choice. We can start to send you to that of the register, login, about page, but it's always a good idea if we send you to our root page, which is going to be this of our home page. Why is this here? This is going to be our home page, our root page. So the next is that if else in case whereby you are not authenticated, we are going to display that on the form for you. We are going to check if the form the method is equals to post. Like when you are done entering the required information, which is in this register, entering all the information here, and click on this sign up. We are going to get that what you are trying to do is actually a post request. If that is a post request, we are going to set this user login form. We're going to set it with the information entered, and then we're going to check if your form is valid. If it's valid, we'll set this user to get your username, this user variable to get your username. If your form is valid, remember you see under if your form is valid, we're going to save it, and we're going to send you a success message. By making use of this of the messages that we imported earlier. This message is just to I say a short time message that it doesn't really last really much long time. So if you are going to send a message, I'm going to send it to that of the login page. Just simple as that. We set here is going to be inherited if anyone, whether if it's this guy that actually took effect or this guy. The situation whereby if you didn't make a post request, the form that we are going to move over to our register of HTML is going to be this form here. But if you made a post request, we are going to move this form to our register.html. Hope that is not hard to understand. So let's try this to let's see whether if it can take effect. So let's actually give this, you can say easy kit 100. Just copy this similar going to be gmail.com, and then password is actually going to be testing 12345. It's going to be testing 12345. So let's actually click on this. See, if you look down here, we actually post request. So let's actually, you can see post register. We actually made a post request, and then why am I getting this error? Clean data username. I think that's where the main problem actually came from. And the mistake we did there is actually from the clean data what get. Since we're trying to get the information that is being stored on this parameter or data of the username, so let's actually run this. So we need to actually confirm our submission. Let's go back again. Okay, well, I think my server is actually misbehaving right now. Okay, why is this? Why is now? So we actually made a post request. We expected see we actually directed to that of the login page. Let's actually create that again to actually see it again. So I can say Ezee keys 99. We can say Ezee keys 99 at gmail.com. That's what gmail.com. And for that of password, I'm going to stick to that of the password. So you're going to be testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to be testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hit on sign up. Hit on this sign up. Let's just say hold on. Down here, well, let's see we can see that we're still on that of the get request. The get request was actually that of the when we tried to get the username. I can see where we made a push request on that of the register. As you see, when we did that, we're actually redirected to that of the login page like we expected. So the next thing we want to do, we can see that there was no message that actually showed here that we logged in successfully or the user was actually created successfully. So we're going to do that on that of the login.html. We're going to actually run all those success message that we expect. Remember that we're going to move this button to inside of this on the form, but we're going to style this a little bit before we can do that. So the first step we're going to do is actually to move this of the login button over to that of the side of this form. So when we are done completing this form, then when we hit on this login button, it's going to let us to make it what's actually that of the post request. So the next thing we want to actually do is for those of the messages, because when we look at this of the views, all the messages, the way the messages work is that this of the I think this messages it works that I can actually view it in any template of your choice. You don't need to actually move it to any template to actually view it. Django in that of the setting, Django already tend to handle this thing. Like how we are trying to move this or the contents to the forms to our template, you don't need to actually do this. So an information that I want to actually get displayed on our let's say this account for the user that was created successfully, which was this. Maybe the person in our case was using keys 100 was created successfully. I want it to actually be show on this of the login.html since we're actually redirecting that of the login page. So since we actually move this login button to our inside of this form, so we need to actually maybe on the top we need to actually say the person that was created was actually successful, or we can just put it just want it to be on the top, so we can say open your code block. So I'm going to say sorry, it's supposed to be dictionary phrases. I'm going to say for message in our what in messages. Remember that the messages. Remember that the messages was actually what we actually imported right in the messages. So let's just copy that so we won't get everything messed up. So we're going to get out of the word messages. So you're not supposed to percentage sign, not answer. So you can really get some of things mixed up just by a little bit of mistake. So we want to actually display those messages by saying message. Remember that this message was actually just the name we give the list of the messages. We're actually trying to loop every message that has been existed that we send to this of the login. We want it to actually display on this of the login page. You can actually set to select particular message that you want to actually display on this of the login page, but I'm going to try my best to make it to just since we're not really trying to share we're going to try to print out much messages, so we can just leave it like this. So in the case you are going to have a lot of messages, you can start to select the particular message that you're interested in. So here is going to be end for it actually is going to be end for it actually end your messages. So we can say so end your phone not actually message end your phone, which is going to be end for. Hope everything is correct. So if everything is correct, let's actually reload our page. Let's go to that of the register. Let's actually register a new account. So we can see Ezee keys 98. We're actually use 199. Email address is going to this Ezee keys 88. Password is going to stick with testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to add that of the testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to click on this sign up. Oh, okay, so this will to be at sorry, this is going to be at gmail.com. gmail.com. This is one of the things I like about Django forms. It just help you to perform some of all these checks. You don't need to actually start from beginning to actually create the conditions for all this. So it's going to make a post request. Since it detected that we made a post request, it's going to move. We can see account for Ezee 98 was created successfully. I have that username, password. Since we moved this login was actually now being moved to the other side, but we'll get the idea. Account for Ezee 98 was actually being created successfully. This is what the test that were actually interested. Remember that making use of this of the f string that we had here, f string, we can actually make use of information that's been stored on a variable. We can actually set a particular information. This is actually a string. This f formatting that we can actually, it's going to display the user, which is going to get the user by that or the username. That's basically what I actually did. This Ezee 98 was actually the username we actually set, so we just grabbed it on the username entry and then get posted it for us. So that's not doing for that or the password, but I think the username was actually the best idea. Nobody wants to, when you register and then your password tend to actually pop on. So I think that's settles it. So the next thing we want to do is actually to beautify this of the login.html. Is not actually looking good the way we expect. So I'm going to paste the code that I have. I've already started it, so you don't need to watch me do that, which is going to take almost the entire video to actually. So I'm just going to paste it and then I'm just going to paste it. What I'm going to paste here, I just use Bootstrap and see. Mainly Bootstrap. I think everything was just Bootstrap to style it a little bit. So remember that this is what we currently have. So let me just select everything and then paste it. Simple as that. So what I actually did was just to make it a whole lot of Bootstrap classes, container, row, justify content. I'm just going to Bootstrap pages and then there's not everything. There's not really much we did. This is out of messages, and this is what we actually did. The form, the CSRF token, the password 1, the password 2. We just added maybe a little bit of Bootstrap on it to style it a little bit more, which you can just go to Bootstrap website to get these classes for you. So let's go to our login web page and then reload it. You can see it's looking a little bit nice, like what we want to actually achieve here. Login. I think these two guys are looking a little bit. Only what is remaining is this of the other background, textures, color, and then we're going to actually achieve that later on. But when we go to login, we have this register. We have this looking like what we expected. So the next thing we want to actually do, since we have actually created an account, can we actually log into that of the account? Remember we created that of the Ezee case 99. I think that was it. Ezee case 99. And the password was testing at 1 2 3 4 5. So hit on login. What actually happened here was, do we actually log in? Didn't we actually log in? We didn't know, but we're going to actually handle that as we go. We're going to able to check if we actually log in, because when we entered our information here, remember that we has a registered user, which was this of our Ezee keys 98, and the password was actually testing 1 2 3 4 5, and then we hit on login. What if we look down here, we actually made a post request down, which is this on the login, but everything just tend to just wipe out. We didn't actually get logged in, we didn't actually get anything else. All the information here just got wiped out. So we need to actually, for us to actually know whether we actually logged in or whether we actually logged out, we need to actually import some of the function that Django tends to provide for us. And this function that we're going to import is actually within this of the contrib.auth. So that first one is going to be that of the login, and second one is going to be that of the that should be logout. This function that basically going to help us to actually, for login, going to help us to actually stay on that of the web page, maybe to store our session data on that of the web page, but that of the login is going to clean us from that of the web page that we're currently on. So the first thing we want to do for that of user login, since we are done with most of everything we need on this our register, if someone is actually logged in to our website, I don't think there's any need for us to actually log in that person in. So we are going to make use of these these conditions. So if the person is actually being authenticated, we need to actually return that person to our page. You can see our main page, or can see our home page. So this is actually the lot of login forms. We are going to come here and say what else, in case if you are not logged in, not authenticated, I want to say else. So I think this guy should be outside here. Should be outside here. So the next thing we are going to actually say is the method. I remember that when you click on this of the login, is going to make that of the post request. So we're going to say if the request you made, was it actually a post request? So if it was actually a post request, we are going to, okay, let me just copy it and then type all these things from scratch again. So I'm going to say if you want a post request, so what do you want to do? So we're going to actually get your username, so get your password. What we actually made was this of the post request. What we want to do, we are going to make use of this authenticate function that we have here. This authenticate function, the way it actually works is going to run through our database. Let's bring this guy up a little bit. Okay, it's going to run through our database and check whether that username and password actually exists in our database. So before that, you need to actually get the username and you actually get the password. This is actually going to show you how hackers is able to get information by you going to a malicious website to actually log in your information. Hackers can actually get your information. And to get this is basically simple. You can try to get your username variable. We're going to set it to be this request. It's going to be request dot what post. Since you made a post request dot thing that should be dot get. It's going to be that of the username. Yeah, that's it. I want to give for that of the password. Also, you need to get your username and that for that of the password. So you want to be the password. So you request the username the get. So that should be password. The get password one. Remember that this password when we're talking about this password. Since Django tends to understand it as password one, if you password two, that is for that of the confirmation password. So we're going to run authentication on this of this username we entered and the password we entered. So we can set our user to a variable user. We can make use of that of the authenticate. That should authenticate. Yeah, the authenticate. The first parameter is going to take it out of the request. Second parameter is going to take that of the username. We can set it to that of the username. So we'll be sure that that's what the parameter will actually set. And second one is that of the password. Since we can set it to that of the password, simple as that. So if your username, the username you entered here actually matches a particular username on the database and the password actually matches the password on the database, username and password actually matching together. So you are going to get a particular output. But let's actually try to print. Let's actually print username and that of password. So yeah, username password. So down here we'll just try to print our user before we can continue. So let's actually go here. Let's actually enter Ezee keys 98 and the password will actually enter the text 10 1 2 3 4 5 and then hit on this login page. So login button. Oh yeah, let's see just load completely. Let's go back to this. Okay, when we look down here, we'll get this Ezee key, which is a username with the first parameter here and the password testing 1 2 3. You can see how this was actually able to get some username and password. Let's say this was actually a malicious website that you think that this is actually the real password. When you enter your information, I can actually grab your information, which is easy. You could advise when you're entering a particular website. Make sure that the website is actually secure. And consider this of the Ezee key is signify that the user that actually being created this was the actual user that actually have this information. So in a situation where this authenticate didn't actually get anything, it's going to be none. So going to be a none is not going to be any value. So let's say enter this again. Let's say Ezee keys 98 and the password will just be a random password. I just entered. I click on this login again. So you can see the username that I entered here and the password. Then it's trying to authenticate. If one is done authenticating and there's nothing matches, it's going to return that out. No. So with this ideology, we can tend to say that okay, if user is not no. Remember that if it's done authenticate, it's going to do what? If the user actually is going to display the username. If it does not exist or doesn't match, it's going to return no. So we're going to say if the output has been gotten from this authentication, that really happened. If it's not none, then we know that that person is actually being ready. So we're going to make use of that of the login function to actually keep that person on the website. So we can say our first parameter is going to be that of the request, and the second parameter is going to be that of the user that we actually that has been authenticated on. So after that, we want to return, or can say redirect person that is actually currently onto our homepage. His name must return it. Can you start to return it? Maybe that person to a particular web page, or can say a particular section of your website of your choice. But I think return that person to your root page or to home page tend to link a little bit more. So in the case if that person is not authenticated properly, we can say our else. So else. You can use messages. You can use messages. So we're going to messages. We're going to use info. And then here is going to, we're going to tell that person that username and password is incorrect. We're going to make it like that. The first parameter is going to be request. So here is going to be, I say the username or password is incorrect. So in case the username and password you enter wasn't authenticated successfully, then I'm going to tell that username and password is incorrect. Maybe you should check it out again. So I hope that is correct. Yeah, that is it. So let's actually head over to our login page. Let's actually reload this. Let's say cancel. I'm going to login. So I make sure everything intact. This again. Okay, I can see login. Everything look good. So I'm going to say our what? Ezee keys. Ezee keys 98. Let's go enter. Okay, so let's actually enter wrong password. So we can say test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's hit on this login. Let's see what message we're going to get. The message we get, the username and password is what? Incorrect. This is actually info success.info. So when we go down here, we can see that Ezee keys, the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and the user is actually set to that of the norm because it didn't actually get authenticated properly. But let's say we enter the right password is going to be Ezee keys 98, and then the password actually that of the test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hit on login. Okay, let's see what happens. So you can see um, that we are being redirected to the home page like how we expected. Return to the root page. You can see that no error was gotten. Everything looks really good like expected. So what I'm actually going to do next is actually because right now we didn't actually know whether we actually log into anything. Because we're not actually seeing any of our profile, any of our information down here. It's still showing the same thing, but we know that we actually logged into this website successfully. So I think that is a great, that's actually, but we actually get the person that is actually logging to get the information showed up somewhere. So that's basically what we are going to do. And to say to know whether somebody actually logged in, so we will look at this of the main guy that we're trying to mimic and see that when we're not logged in, we'll get this kind of login and register button that is here. So we can actually achieve this in this situation. So when we log in, we're trying to get this only this create post, maybe and that's of the logout button that is here. That's only when we log in. I need to actually get the person that logged in information, maybe the user that is being logged in. So we are going to achieve this in this of the base.html. So the social whereby somebody is logged in, we're going to use that of the authenticate that we've actually been using earlier. So it's going to be actually a navbar. So I don't need to mess it up. So it's going to be open this Django. So we're going to say if the user dot what is so that should be authenticated. Simple as that. The person is the user has logged in. So we need to, do we need to actually display? We need to actually display that of really the create post and that of the logout. So that is it. And then we need to actually put on that of the else in case the person is not logged in. Like how we can see here, this is not logged in. We need to actually show that of the login and register. So we can say else. We need to associate that already. Login and register and just push these two guys inside it. And the next we want to do is actually to end our if statements. So I'm going to say it's going to be and if, simple as that. So what we actually did here, in case this user dot is authenticated, is going to check whether if the user is actually logged in, whether if the member is actually logged in on our web page. So person is logged in. What do you want to show? We want to only show this of the create post and log out, because if you are logged in, I don't think showing you register again is going to make sense, or to log in again is going to make sense. But you can start to log out, you can start to create posts. And also when you are not logged in, I don't think me showing you to create posts when you are not logged in. How are you going to achieve that? Also, I think you get the idea. Let me just go back, load our page. See, you can see that this shows that we have actually watched. So a user that actually create them being created. You can see that already create posts, and this of the logout is this. So it's always a good idea if we have to display somebody that's actually the guy that's actually logged out. So we can just copy this and just create a number. Here we're going to say what hello. I say hello, the person that is logged in. You can say hello, maybe remember that this is how you get the values. Can say request of what user. User is the person that's actually logged in. Make use of this request actually pinpoint the person that is logged in. Hello, that particular logged user. So let's actually see that. You can see hello easy keys. Then it's simple as that. So we're still going to make this an anchor tag that when you click on, you can say login. I mean, we can still make this. Okay, so I'm going to make this. When you click on it, so this is actually an anchor tag. When you click on it, it's going to display the information about your profile, like just of your profile picture, your username, and a whole lot of other things. I can see we're able to achieve it, to know about the person that's actually currently logged in. So you can see we're actually able to achieve a whole lot of things. So the next thing we want to actually do is actually to pagination, which actually paginate this page, and also to beautify this of our web page a little bit better. So since you are, that's what I want us to handle is that since you are logged in, you should be able to log out, because when you click on this, nothing is actually happening. So to perform that of the logout, so we're going to go over to our views.py. Is views.py. Here we're going to create a function. We can call it our log. Can see, don't just call it user. Let's call log. Simple as that. The first parameter is that of the request. Then after that, too, that of the logout is basically simple to achieve. So it's going to be log out. We're going to log the person. So how do we want to achieve? We're going to log out of the request, because request, you can make use of request when somebody is logging out to perform some other things. So you can then return when somebody is logged out, you can direct that person to that of the login in the situation where that person is interested in logging in. So you can set to login. Remember, I can set to redirect the person anywhere of your choice is going to be login. Be simple as that. So that's why log out. I start to redirect that person to that of the login page. So I'm going to create a URL pattern for that. Here is going to be, let's copy this, paste this. Okay, let me just tap this a little bit. So it's going to be log out. So this will be a small letter. So it'll be log out. And here is going to be user log out. And here is going to be what? Log out page. So what do I have to add? So I want this to actually happen within that of the page.html. So when we click on this logout page, is going to be this of the quota. Let me just copy this starting point. So I'm going to put it, meaning that when you click on this button is being covered in that of the link button, but you're not going to basically see that because it was being beautified. So we're going to, here is going to be log out. Simple as that. So when you click on this logout button, it's going to actually run this URL pattern. Is going to be actually run this URL pattern. This URL pattern is going to run these views, which is actually this user logout. These views, which is in our views, is going to run this particular function. This particular function, this logout function is going to log it out from the website. So let's actually go to home page. Otherwise, this is a little bit logout, not found. Logout page is not valid view function pattern name. Logout page. Yeah. Why did I get an error there? Let's go to that of the URLs. Logout page. Logout page. Logout. Then why did I get the problem here? Logout page. Where do I have to go to our URL patterns? They just copy this directly. So I wonder why we're getting this error. Go back to our page HTML. Where's this? Let me go back again and reload this. Why do I say keep on getting this problem? Return render HTML. Problem seems to be from this nav bar, which is a logout button. Then why am I getting this program logout page? That where that is actually happening. Reverse for logout not found. Logout page not a valid function or pattern name. Why do I keep on getting this program? User logout. Make sure that everything seems to be in order. Let's go to our views. So let's go to our URL pattern / logout. Everything seems to be in order. Why do I keep on getting this anonymous program? Okay, let's just open. Let's run this again. Let's go click on this logout. And see everything was logged out successfully. So I wonder if you at times actually to just to copy it back again, maybe the views. If you experience this type of problem, make sure to copy maybe the parameter name or the name itself over to your URLs, maybe over to anywhere you are going to make use of it. So you can see that when we logged out, we're already seeing this login and register like how we are seeing here, and then we're already seeing it, and then we're redirected to that of the login page. A little bit nicer. That's what basically what we expected, because when you log out, you be redirected to that of the home page. The next thing I want us to actually add is that of the, we'll go to the home, we want to actually add this search entry here. So this is going to give us a own form in the front end without needing that of the Django form. So for us to actually do this is going to be on that of the home.html, because there's only on that of the home.html that we're going to see this. It's only on the page itself, actually get that content, that's where you're actually going to see that. So instead of this block body, I want it to be on top here. It's going to be a form. That's the first step. That's the first thing you should know. It's going to be a form. Another thing we should look at is, and this here is that this search is actually importing, is actually an entry. So since we are getting an entry, we have to add that of CSRF token, and this is going to be a button. This button has to be inside of that of the what's it called? Inside of this of the form itself. So this is going to be an input. So this is going to be a form that we can set the method. Let's put this to be that of the method. Let's set the method to be that of the post. I'm using capital letter post, but without actually matter more. So we can set the class to be that of search form. Can start to give it a name. Just so we're going to add that of the CSRF token. So Django actually require you to actually put that. So you're going to CSRF token. Make sure to add that. So the next thing you want to actually do is actually to, for that of the actually use for set to the input itself, which is this input kind. So we're going to say our input, simple as that. So the type is going to be that of the submit, simple as that. And then so the type should be something like search. Yeah, that's submit. And then we can give it a name. Then we can give it a name, but we can give it input search. So we can start to give it a placeholder. Where the placeholder is this search content that's inside of it. So we can give it a placeholder. We can give it say search content here. And then inside of it, we are going to give it a button. So this will be close. Close. So we can give it a button. The button we're going to give it basically going to be so these buttons are going to be search. So we can call that of the button. Let's give it a second button. So the type is going to be submit, because we're trying to submit something, and then the text is going to be Google search and one choice. So this, I think this actually undo it. Okay, I think this actually undo it. So let's actually load our page, load it. You can see we get this what is the search content here, the placeholder, and that of the search that's going to actually make this actually running a post request that we can see. See, you can see as was able to for us to actually create our own input. Today must see that of Django form. So for us to create our input, input or that of the forms instead of all relying on that of Django form. You can see how simple this was able to achieve by making a lot of the form, give it a class, add a CSRF token, input is where the content is going to be sent, and they will put a button that is going to be trigger this of the method to post. So in our views, we're going to listen for this of the signal that actually get to happen here. They are going to target this input stage and get the output that's been stored in this of the input tag. They are going to make use of it to actually put our database and get the particular result or the particular content what the user actually is interested on.